Here we got a 97
F-150.
Easy Go here that
Oh, yeah.
the pro fabricator right there, Austin Feller, has created. This is the old axle that was in her. Custom subframe that we got going on there. And he's kind of got a little sneak peek of a four-wheeler motor that he's fabricating to put in the chassis right now.
We're gonna get some coffee and hookers.
So Austin, what are we doing right now as far as the fabrication of mounting the motor?
We're figuring her out. Pretty much all I can fucking say.
There's a lot of measuring and bending involved into the process of making the motor fit into the chassis of it, especially not being originally mounted into the golf cart.
Oh no!
As you can see, he's got probably every piece of machinery that you can think of to do this custom fabrication, as far as iron worker, tube notcher, tube bender, bandsaw. He's got a plastic cutting table,
Oh no, the
welders for all different uses, and of course he's got software to be able to perform his bends and everything like that.
pick point, clear value. When we want to move it forward, 0.75, because that's half the material thickness of what? The tube we're using.
Okay.
So that we can account for the what? The notch.
All right.
Okay. Then we go fucking bench to clickader, 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 clickader. Boom, boom, bam, bitch.
Okay, so then how do you transfer
Here's
this?
the individual part.
And what is that? So that tells you where your degrees of your bends are going to be?
Yep. Hopefully. We'll see if it works. But then look up here. Cut
Okay.
length 38 and about 9/16.
Okay.
So we need to cut apart at 38 and 9/16.
Okay. The idea here is to get a 2014 brute force motor mounted into this technically two-wheel drive golf cart that he's custom fabricated, that we're now going to switch. He's going to build custom axles for the front and rear using Razor front end and rear end locking diffs.
Which one's he talking about?
Then he'll be able to flip a switch to be able to have on-demand four-wheel drive when he needs it. So we take our measurements from the software that we've got, punch it into the computer, and then it automatically bends it to the correct degree. And that's how it's bent. Okay, so this tool is meant to put the tubing in here, and then this will cut your tube notch to line up with your other circular mount.
Yeah, and the reason why we're running such a big one is because the clamp is big.
Okay.
So we want to match the contour of the clamp.
Something that he already did was this bracket up here for the front engine mount. Same removable clamps. That way, if he ever had to remove the engine mounting, he could just unbolt the clamps. Same with the back here. Same system here, bent tube, and then as well as he had to make flares to be able to be mounted onto the bracket. So here's that we made for the rear engine mounting. Goes up to the frame on both sides with the quick release or the quick removable mount, tube clamps. Goes down to the motor. Just put some decent tacks on there. And then, yeah, so that's the mount. The motor is in place. Our next step is to make sure that the race exhaust that is custom fitted for the motor. When we mount the exhaust of the motor, we want to make sure that obviously our engine mounting doesn't interfere with how the exhaust is ran through the engine bay. So the issue we're having now is that our race exhaust is actually, so it gets routed from the front cylinder, comes around to the back, and then you actually have a tube that goes down, and our rear bracket for our motor is actually interfering with the bend to come around, because this port here and this port here goes to the T that is right there. So they both get joined together, and then that's when you'd have your single exhaust going out. So at this point, we are going to have to fabricate some kind of notches in our mount, possibly there and possibly on the bottom, to make our bends be able to get this tube to come back and around so that these can be right next to each other. All right, Austin, so this crazy golf cart here that you've created insanely, why a golf cart, and like, where did you get your motivation from?
My father. Yeah, no, that's pretty much it.
Oh. So your dad had a golf cart, built one similar, or is this
This is a little overkill for pretty much anybody else in the world.
And I'm sure you've had people ask you to either create one for you for themselves or fabricate something similar.
Yeah, and the only limitation is their budget.
I can see that. There's a lot of custom time into this, a lot of custom fabrication. I mean, to have a 4-link system on it, and now is what you're doing is creating a 4-wheel drive system using Razor suspension. Also, there's possibility of putting portals on it.
Indeed.
So, what's lift that it's gonna have without the portals? Without the portals,
It'll be as wide as a Razor 1000.
Razor 1000. And judging by, I'm sure you've added up the weight of this one and added up the weight of what a Razor would be. What is the weight difference between the two?
This will weigh 300 to 400 pounds less.
So it's more power, less weight
Yes. Than a Razor 800.
than a Razor 800. Okay. So since we hit the roadblock for the night with the exhaust issue with the rear motor mount, our fabricator here, Austin's going to take the night and tomorrow to figure out a solution on how we're going to make the exhaust work without having to redesign the rear bracket. So at this point, the fabrication for the night's done. Here's kind of an overlook of what he's got going on so far. That'll be the new axle. If I stand back, you know, compared to Austin, how tall are you?
6'4".
6'4", and he's standing right next to it. Obviously, it's on jack stands right now, but if you add in what the axles are going to be when it's all complete and done and fabricated, this isn't too far without portals as far as where it's going to sit. With portals, obviously, what'd you say you got, 6-inch or 8-inch portals?
6-inch.
So you have 6-inch portals. You had 6-inch portals. You're gonna have a 6-inch higher of a lift. Here's the back side. There is a custom roll cage, but due to limited space in the garage here, he had to take it off. Also, custom rear bumper and
An off bottle.
the rims here that are gonna be going on.
Don't worry, the box won't scratch the rims.
Also, it's going to be controlled by the brute force computer technology, so he'll make custom fabrication bracket to be able to mount that onto the roll cage as well. So, yeah, that's kind of what it looks like so far. Also, big shout out to Interco for supplying us with some Super Swampers for his build. It's going to be a crazy deal when it's all finished and done. Also, if you like this video, subscribe, like, and be ready for more custom fabrication videos. This is obviously the winter project throughout the winter.
Oh, hell yeah.
Taryn over there eating a Crunchwrap. But we have a lot more videos to come. This is going to be a crazy build. We are setting goal for when will this be completed?
In 1 month.
No. Hopefully before the snow's gone.
So we'll hopefully get some dry runs in when the snow is done. We are
March.
bringing it to Mudfest,
Minnesota Mudfest.
Minnesota Mudfest in Hillman, Minnesota. And that'll be the first actual test run in the mud. Like I said, guys, like and subscribe.